This year is the 400-year anniversary of the Mayflower's historic voyage to America in 1620. This famous ship transported 102 passengers to the New World. After many hardships and setbacks, they established a small permanent colony in Massachusetts. Today, there are more than 28 million Americans who can trace their genealogy directly back to one of the 23 families on board the Mayflower. But the Mayflower was not the first ship to sail to America with colonists. The story of America actually begins in East London.
It's hard to believe, but on this very spot is the birthplace of the United States of America. In 1606, 105 passengers boarded 3 separate ships en route to Jamestown, Virginia, where they would establish the first British colony, the first permanent settlement in the United States of America.
This place is called Blackwall, and it is located in East London along the River Thames. From here, British colonists boarded 3 small ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, and set sail on a voyage to the New World. The expedition was organized and funded by the Virginia Company of London. After the colonists arrived in April 1607, almost 80% of them died within the first few months because of the harsh conditions. Captain John Smith played an important role in the establishment and survival of the new colony, which endured many hardships.
This place is very special to me. It has a very personal connection. I was born in North Carolina, not far from Raleigh, North Carolina, which was named after the famous British explorer, Sir Walter Raleigh. He lived very close here in Blackwall, and many British explorers lived in this area. The monument behind me was erected to commemorate those people that sailed over in 1606 to begin Jamestown, Virginia.
The Virginia Key Settlers Monument serves as a reminder of this historic voyage which led to the humble beginnings of America over 400 years ago. As a teenager, I lived in Virginia for many years, and I enjoyed visiting the historic colonial sites. One of Jamestown's most famous residents was Pocahontas, who was the daughter of a Native American chief. According to legend, she saved John Smith from being killed by members of her tribe. In 1614, she married tobacco planter John Rolfe and had a son. In 1616, John Rolfe and Pocahontas traveled to London and stayed for a year. She even met King James I. As Pocahontas planned to return to Virginia, she tragically fell ill and died of unknown causes. Pocahontas was buried in St. George's Church in Gravesend, just outside of London. A memorial was erected in front of the church in her honor. As an American living in London, I am completely enthralled and captivated by the story of the Mayflower ship and its connection to London. The famous ship was based on the River Thames in Rotherhithe. This historic part of London has a rich seafaring history. It still has its old world charm with cobbled streets and historic buildings which attest to its maritime heritage. The narrow passageway along the river opens into a churchyard surrounded by brick-clad buildings. I especially like St. Mary's School, which was established in 1613. The historic facade is decorated with colorful, painted statues depicting a little boy and girl. Located in the heart of historic Rotherhithe, St. Mary's Church is one of the most important historic buildings in the area. There is evidence that a church has existed on this site since the 13th century. Through the 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries, the church was a regular place of worship for mariners, sailors, merchants, and many other people involved in the maritime trades prevalent in Rotherhithe.
This is the historic church in Rotherhithe, St. Mary's Church, where the captain of the Mayflower ship was buried. His name was Christopher Jones. On the wall behind me, on the Church of St. Mary's, is a plaque which commemorates that special occasion when Christopher Jones and his crew members got on board the Mayflower ship and picked up 65 passengers here in London and sailed to Southampton, where they picked up the other passengers from the Leiden Church in the Netherlands and then sailed across the ocean on that epic journey back in 1620.
After the long voyage across stormy seas, the Mayflower arrived in Massachusetts in November 1620. During the first winter, half of the poorly equipped Pilgrims died in the bitterly cold, harsh conditions in New England. Fortunately, the friendly Wampanoag Indians taught the early colonists how to survive and live off the land. Following the first harvest in 1621, the Pilgrims and Wampanoag Indians celebrated together with a large feast, which is considered the first Thanksgiving. It was declared a national holiday in 1863 by President Abraham Lincoln. Thanksgiving is still celebrated every year in America with large family gatherings and traditional feasts. Around St. Mary's Church, there are a few small monuments which pay tribute to the historic events which started in Rotherhithe and changed the world.
This is another one of the interesting statues that's located along the Thames Path in Rotherhithe, which commemorates the historic voyage of the Mayflower in 1620. We're just going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see the details that the sculptor incorporated into this very unique statue.
It was designed by local artist Peter McLean to portray the Mayflower story and legacy, which is illustrated in a newspaper called the Sunbeam Weekly. William Bradford, the famous governor of the new Plymouth colony, stands behind a boy reading a newspaper. With his mouth wide open, Bradford is surprised to see how the United States of America has evolved since the Mayflower landed in 1620. The inside of the magazine shows some of the icons which now symbolize America, such as taxis, the Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building in New York City, along with cowboys, space shuttles, and many other things. These icons serve as a reminder that the small colony established by the Pilgrims would grow into one of the most powerful and influential nations in the world. Although the foreshore in Rotherhithe is quiet now, it was once home to many shipbuilding and shipbreaking yards. One of Turner's most famous paintings illustrates the Fighting Temeraire ship as it was being tugged to Rotherhithe to be broken up. According to some historians, the Mayflower ship could have also been dismantled in Rotherhithe. The timbers were supposedly used to build a barn in Kent, aptly named the Mayflower Barn. There is still evidence of the shipbreaking industry lying on the riverbed, which is exposed at low tide. During my 8 years of mudlarking along the River Thames, I have found numerous 17th century artifacts, which were either accidentally dropped or purposely discarded in the river. Each of these artifacts represents a different person who lived at that time period. Some of the most common 17th century artifacts I have found are clay tobacco pipes and sherds of colorful pottery, from hand-painted tin-glazed pottery to Staffordshire comb slipware to German Westerwald stoneware to the famous Bellarmine jugs, which were once used for drinking ale and wine. Their bearded faces are quintessential mudlarking finds from the 16th and 17th centuries. I have also found many other artifacts from the 17th century, including many coins, tokens, toys, gaming pieces, cloth seals, and buttons. Some of my favorite finds are copper and silver coins, which were produced during the reign of King James I between 1603 and 1625. As I hold this copper farthing, I can just imagine the person who lost this coin 400 years ago. I wonder if even a pilgrim could have dropped it before boarding the Mayflower. We'll never know, but it's an incredible thrill to find artifacts from this time of the Mayflower still buried in the mud of the River Thames. It's really a tangible connection with history. Located across from St. Mary's Church in Rotherhithe, the Mayflower Pub stands on the original site of the 16th century pub called The Ship.
This is the famous Mayflower Pub, located in the heart of Rotherhithe along the River Thames. It's here where the captain Christopher Jones and his crew members would often frequent and enjoy a nice cold pint or a nice dinner.
Over its long history, many sailors and adventurers have had a drink at this pub before embarking on their journeys to distant lands. It is one of the oldest pubs along the River Thames. Around 1790, the pub was rebuilt and named the Spread Eagle. In 1957, the historic pub was renamed the Mayflower Pub to commemorate Rotherhithe's role in the voyage of the Mayflower in 1620.
I think it's time after this long day for us to go enjoy a pint.
When you enter the pub, you really feel like you're going back in time. It's like a time capsule steeped in maritime history and charm. The crackling fireplace, candlelit interior, oak timber paneling, and nautical decor create an unforgettable experience. The bar still serves traditional ales such as the Mayflower Scurvy Ale, which is my personal favorite. Cheers. If you want to see and hear more about the extraordinary 17th century artifacts discovered in the River Thames, you can order our book called Thames Mudlarking, Searching for London's Lost Treasures, which I wrote with Nick Stevens. The book is packed with over 150 color photographs of the historical objects found by over 50 mudlarks. These beautiful artifacts recovered from the river tell the incredible story of London and its inhabitants over the past 2,000 years. You can purchase a copy of the book on Amazon, Kobo, and all good online bookstores.